Hey Potterheads, and welcome to episode 12 of the Secret Keepers podcast, covering Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, chapters 1 through 5. Previously on The Secret Keeper.
We're going to do a live reaction to the reading of this next chapter.
Oh.
It strangely blurred around the edges, as though Harry were looking at him through a misted window. But there was no mistaking him. Tom? Tom Riddle?
Tom Riddle.
He's Tom Riddle.
He's the diary guy, right?
He's the diary guy, yep. He pulled Harry's wand from his pocket and began to trace it through the air, writing three shimmering words I'd imagine much like a sparkler going through one of those time-lapse photos. Tom Marvolo Riddle. And then he waved the wand once, and the letters of his name rearranged themselves. I am Lord Voldemort. There was a long, dreadful, piercing scream. Ink sputtered out of the diary in torrents. Riddle was writhing and twisting, screaming and flailing, and then Harry killed another person.
You see this coming, Jared? Is that he was macking hardcore with Penelope Clearwater.
In the Prisoner of Azkaban. It's a horse bird. So maybe they have a pet horse bird?
This is The Secret Keepers.
New book. Broken into the new book.
You gotta introduce yourself.
Good call. I'm your
We
host.
didn't do that last episode.
It's true. Okay, let's start over.
I know, because I was out of
You're bored.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm your host, Colin.
I'm your editor emeritus, Taylor, but kind of not really emeritus.
And I'm the
yet.
star of the show.
Cheers.
And we are bringing you a whole new book today. It is The Prisoner of Azkaban. And we are moving at rocket speed right now. I think it's been exactly 1 week since we last recorded, and we've gone 5 chapters since then. So maybe it will be less than 7 years before we finish all this. Who knows?
I don't have my hopes up.
That's 5 chapters in one night. 100 pages.
Good job.
3 hours.
I'm proud of you.
How
Jay.
long? It took a little while, but hey.
3 hours and 100 pages?
I did about all my notes and read in that time. Not mean to brag or anything, but... Anyways, this time we're covering chapters 1 through 5, but before we get into that, news of the day. I thought I had something.
Colin got an air fryer.
I did get an air fryer.
It's running right now.
If you listen really closely, you might be able to hear it in the background. We're roasting. We're cooking up some honey barbecue wings.
How many? 3 wings to be exact?
I think there's actually like 7 in there because I knew Taylor would want some more. So 15 minutes from now or less, you might hear some beeping, and we'll have to go eat and take a eat
And
break.
some munching and crunching, some
Oh,
dipping.
I remember what I was going to say. Question of the day for all you listeners out there. What is the sharpest angle corner that is physically possible to build in a room? Hear me out on this. I was thinking about this today. If you have a corner that comes together in a room, normally at 90, right?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. As you get further, and as you decrease that, say it's 45, 30, 20, you just get harder and harder to reach into the corner to like finish the drywall and to paint and everything. So what is...
Comment down below. We really need to know.
Yeah, put the comments in the comment section. No, just text Taylor or something.
His number is. No.
Anyways.
Here's a better question.
Okay.
Did Biden actually win the election?
Oh, my word. Let's not get into this, Taylor. Cut that. Cut that. We're not going to do this.
Those wings smell really good.
It's only halfway done. All right, Jared. Hit us. Wake up first. And hit us with that 30-second summary. Go.
All right, 5 chapters. I'll see if I can keep this under 30 seconds. Chapter 1, The Owl Post. Harry gets some birthday presents from Ron, Hermione, and Hagrid. And we learn a little bit more about what those two are doing in the summer, Ron and Hermione. In Chapter 2, Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia host Aunt Marge for a week. And after Aunt Marge insults Harry's family, Harry basically turns her into a hot air balloon. Chapter 3, Harry runs away. And the night bus takes him to London just before death. Hint, hint, maybe? I don't know. Learn a little bit more. And we learn about Sirius Black. Chapter 4, Harry stays in London, meets up with Ron and Hermione, and learn that Black is after him. Chapter 5, they travel to Hogwarts, and Harry is frozen? Maybe, I don't know what he was. Got cold? By a dementor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was like, what are you talking by a what? I missed that.
A dementor.
By a dementor, okay.
What did you say in the middle about a night bus? Before what?
Just before his death, maybe?
Before he could have died.
Maybe?
Because
Well, we might get to
there was
that.
the
We might get
the
to that.
monster. We'll get there.
We saw the eyes in the alleyway or something.
Did you didn't even read the book, so
I said I did read it. I listened.
Chapter 1. I'll post.
Those wings smell so good.
Okay, if you're gonna talk about the wings the whole time, we're just gonna cut now and we're gonna come back afterwards. Chapter 1, I will post. As Jared said, Harry is back at 4 Privet Drive. And all his school stuff has been locked away because the Dursleys don't want anyone knowing about him or his magic, of course. So he hasn't got much of any contact from his friends other than a phone call from Ron, which went horribly bad. And Uncle Vernon forbid Ron to call him again. Forbade Ron to call him again. J.K. then spends a little bit of time recapping everything that happened in the first 2 books, kind of like we had discussed last time. And we learn it's Harry's birthday. Jared, what date is Harry's birthday?
Not a... July, I want to say.
Okay.
July... I have no idea. I'm going to make up a number. 16.
Yeah, Taylor, you can guess.
I think it's July 31.
I think it is too. I don't actually know.
Pretty sure it is.
I think it is. Anyway, Jared, before
What
we
year
move...
was he born?
Wait, I gotta do the little test. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, 31.
So 30. Jared, before we move on here, would you mind giving us a quick summary of the first 2 books?
Oh, boy. Book 1. Started off boring, kind of like the next 2. Book 1.
We're gonna go through this every time we ask you this.
I have to, really think.
What was the name of the first book? Let's start there.
Start with that.
That's what I'm trying to think. That would get me a long ways.
Harry Potter and the
Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, yeah, the Sorcerer's Stone.
And
that
this was
in the
about a year
dog.
ago since you first opened the book.
There was the big dog that guarded this.
What was the dog's name?
It was, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Fluffy.
Fluffy.
Yep.
Yep. And
Stop distracting him. Let him finish.
Sorry. I'm just helping him. Then what? What was he guarding?
Well, they won the House Cup.
And we're finished with the first book.
Yeah, that's the first book. You don't remember anything else? I feel like we talked about this the last episode.
Was it the first one that... No, that was the second one that we learned. No, that was the second one.
What was this? Where was the Sorcerer's Stone?
It was in this trapdoor underneath there. And
Yeah.
they had to
What else
lull
was
the
down
guy
there?
to sleep.
Yep.
And then they had to do some magic on their pathway down.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
And then they
But who?
killed you know who. Well, they
No.
didn't kill him, but
Well, who?
he was in the Quirrell.
Yeah!
He was in Quirrell.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, the Lego man.
Yeah. Man of 2 faces.
I just saw Jared's eyes light up.
Yeah,
when
he
finally
just said,
figured
"All
out
came
what
rushing back." I feel like we just talked about this.
I think we did.
Yeah, 6 months ago.
No,
Okay,
no, I was
all right,
seeing
so
that.
and then they win the House Cup. So what's
And then
the,
they win the House Cup.
Okay, so quick summary of book 2.
Book 2 starts off the same way.
What was the name of it?
Harry Keeper and the Red Flamingo.
Harry what?
Harry Keeper.
Harry Potter and the...
You're kidding.
You just finished reading it,
I
Jared.
don't look at the title.
Okay, what was on the what was on the cover of the book?
The Red Flamingo.
What else?
What was the Red Flamingo actually?
Oh, in the hall, in
The hall.
the
The Hall of Mysteries.
the brick the whatever it's called.
Man, this is like
Oh
watching
my.
a 2-year-old do
The
a
spiders.
Roof
I
Spiders.
thought your reading comprehension was improving. It's apparently it's your reading retention.
Chamber of Secrets.
Oh yeah.
So what happened in the Chamber of Secrets?
They enter the Chamber of Secrets,
That's
Okay.
it.
and
Nothing else happened before that.
Well, there's all the intro, and the spiders and Hagrid,
Yeah, okay. that's
People
fair. There
getting
we go.
petrified
and people are petrified
by a massive snake that's moving through the
Yep.
pipes.
And then they kill the snake.
Who
or he
kills the
kills
snake?
Harry Potter does.
Who else is down there?
Tom Riddle.
Who's Tom Riddle?
Tom Riddle is you know who.
From
Okay.
you know who from 50 years ago.
Yeah, you know who.
All right.
and-
I think we're good.
And the Red Flamingo, aka Fox the
Yes.
Phoenix, comes in, saves the day.
See, I remember that.
Yeah,
I just
see,
don't remember.
Jenny's the
title.
damsel in distress.
Yeah, we won't get into that. Anyways, so yeah, back to this chapter. I'll post. So Ron sends a gift for his birthday, and also says the Weasleys had won a trip to Egypt to visit their oldest brother, Bill, who works as a curse breaker for Gringotts Bank. And he sends a picture of all the Weasleys, and Ron even has his pet rat with him on his shoulder. Harry reads Ron's birthday note, and we find out that Percy is now head boy. And Harry got a pocket sneakoscope from Ron for his birthday. Jared, what is a pocket sneakoscope?
Wait, no, that
It tells if a person's good or bad, or is
Ron got the sneakoscope, right?
He gave it to Harry for his birthday.
yes, correct.
Oh,
Taylor, I thought your reading comprehension was...
I thought it was Ron's.
No, it's Harry's. It's okay, though.
Oh.
It's okay.
Now I'm disappointed in myself.
Yeah. So Harry also gets
I'm also gonna try to prove you wrong.
Okay. Harry also gets a broom care kit from Hermione and the Monster Book of Monsters from Hagrid. He also gets his Hogwarts class list from McGonagall and a note that says third years are allowed to visit... What place, Jared?
The note from McGonagall.
Oh, you hear that beep?
Hey,
There's
wings
the
are
wings.
ready.
That's kind of annoying.
Oh, Hogsmeade.
Yes.
Yep. Hogsmeade.
Hogsmeade.
Yeah.
There you go.
Going to Hogsmeade.
So Harry decides to worry about all that signed signature stuff later, and the chapter ends with Harry being glad for the first time in his life that it was his birthday. That's pretty sad.
That's pretty sad.
Chapter 2. Taylor, you gonna go get some wings?
We'll get some wings.
Okay, chapter 2, Aunt
Carry
Marge's big mistake. So this chapter kicks off by telling us that the Dursleys are still fat. They all gather around the TV for breakfast, and they hear about an escaped criminal named Black. And then Vernon has to leave to pick up Aunt Marge, who is basically the worst person. Like she's worse than the Dursleys, in my opinion. But before Vernon leaves, Harry kind of blackmails him with a deal. He says he'll do whatever the Dursleys want him to do while Aunt Marge is there, if Uncle Vernon signs Harry's Hogsmeade permission sheet, to which Uncle Vernon agrees to do only after Harry has done his part. So Vernon leaves, and Harry runs upstairs and puts all his things away and sends Hedwig out to Ron's. Shortly after that, Aunt Marge shows up, and they head for tea where she questions Harry about his school, and is upset that he's not getting beaten hard enough by his teachers and instructors, which is something. But Uncle Vernon quickly changes the subject by asking her about the escaped prisoner from the news. So, let's see. Yeah, later on in the week, Aunt Marge is going on hating on Harry more and more, and says, and I quote, "You mustn't blame yourself for the way the boys turned out, Vernon. If there's something rotten on the inside, there's nothing anyone can do about it. It's one of the basic rules of breeding. You see it all the time with dogs. If there's something wrong with the bitch, there's something wrong with the pup." Woof.
Yeah, that is something else.
That was something else.
That's like the worst your mom joke anyone can say. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, it is. So Harry gets a little upset at this, and Marge's wine glass explodes in her hand. So Harry hurriedly leaves the room and tells himself he cannot lose control again. On the last night of Aunt Marge's stay, at dinner she had been drinking quite a bit, and she began talking about Harry's parents again and insulting them at every turn. And this is where Harry reaches his breaking point. He stands up to her a little bit, and they have a little word fighting confrontation. And then all of a sudden, as Jared said, Aunt Marge starts blowing up like a balloon and floating into the sky. Kind of reminds me of the blueberry lady from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Did you take all the wings?
There's 4 left in there. And they're not wings, they're chicken nuggets.
Okay. You can't.
Comment down below, do you like bone-in wings or boneless wings? We all know the true answer.
Okay, you're just going to smack into the mic.
You talking about the wine glass blowing up?
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, the wine glass in her hand blew up, and she just attributed it to her having like a lot of grip strength, and it happened before. But I think Harry kind of knew that it was him that kind of did it. So, Jared, what do you think about Aunt Marge in comparison to the Dursleys?
She seems about the same.
You would put them on the same level.
No, I mean, Aunt Marge is worse than the Dursleys, but they both... never mind. I retract everything I just said.
Okay.
She's all talk.
As I rethink about it. I don't know what to think of them. I think the Dursleys are always trying to hide the fact, and they know that he has powers, but they want to pretend he doesn't have powers.
Okay.
Aunt Marge, I'm gonna guess, is like jealous of for some reason.
Jealous of Harry?
Of her mom or her sister or however they're related.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. Marge just seems like a lady I would not want to be around for very long.
When you picture Aunt Marge, do you picture anybody in real life?
That is an terrible question. Nope.
Okay, I didn't either. But I was just wondering if you would just be like, yeah, it's Taylor. No.
It's his girlfriend.
Ooh, shots fired 3 years from now when she's listening to this.
Shots fired again.
What? It's going to take her... He's not going to break this to her on day one. So, anyways, the chapter ends with Harry sprinting out of the room, grabbing all his belongings, and threatening Vernon with his wand as he leaves the house and heads out into the street. And now we're up to chapter 3, The Night Bus. I bet you this was Jared's favorite chapter because it's spelled night, like nights, and he went to Calvin.
Night for life.
I thought the same thing.
It's
I
like
went to Calvin College before it was Calvin University.
And they probably actually have a bus on campus called the Night Bus, and it's spelled the same way, don't they, Jared?
Not that I'm aware of.
This chapter kicks off with Harry freaking out now that he's alone at night in the Muggle world, most certainly expelled from Hogwarts, and there's nowhere to go. He decides that more magic wouldn't hurt, so as he gets ready, he feels as though someone is watching him. He quickly uses Lumos, and sees the hulking outline of something very big with wide, gleaming eyes. Jared, what is this?
At this point?
Yeah.
When I was reading this?
Yeah.
I had zero idea.
No idea?
I thought this was what was going to come rescue him.
Oh.
Before...
Okay.
I thought it was like a passageway or something that...
What?
You know... I don't know, you can walk anywhere in the wizard world and find something. So
Yeah.
I thought this was like, instead of the person's house, this was an entrance to... I don't know, that's kind of what I originally thought.
Okay.
As I was reading it.
But now what do you think?
It's a death omen.
Okay. So Harry steps back, a little bit afraid, takes a stumble, and then lands in the gutter. And then, just then, with a loud bang, the night bus shows up. Jared, hit us with a sound effect for the night bus. Bang.
He bang!
That's pretty good. So, Jared, who gets off the night bus to greet Harry?
Stan Shunpike.
Nailed it.
Yeah, Stan Shunpike. And just a question: what exactly is the night bus?
An emergency transport for stranded wizards.
Man, he's all over it.
What's it look like?
It's like a triple decker.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
look at him.
Look at
What-
you.
what
Are you
color
sure
is
you
it?
didn't take notes?
What color is it?
I don't know, red.
I don't even know what color it is.
It's purple.
Oh, I thought it was red.
It's purple. Is it violently purple?
Oh, yeah.
The conductor is in a purple uniform.
I thought he
Is
was
this where she says violently purple?
I don't think so.
Yes, it's a violently purple bus.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you call that?
Soliloquy.
No, you just made that up.
Sorry, English majors. Taylor,
What?
hit us with Stan's lines when he talks to Harry.
Stan's lines.
Yeah, page.
What were you doing down there?
You can do that.
Welcome to the night bus, emergency transport for the stranded witch or wizard. Just stick out your one hand, step on board, and we can take you anywhere you want to go. My name is Stan Shunpike, and I'll be your conductor this eve. I should probably have like a British accent or something.
I don't know what accent that was. It's kind of like a Wild West thing going to it. And I'll rattle, partner. I'll be,
Yeah, it kind of did.
I'll be your conductor this evening.
What were you doing down there, mate?
Fell
I didn't
over.
say that. You fell over for?
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to get to.
You fell over for?
You fell over for.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Oh man.
What accent is that?
What you fall over for?
That's pretty. Yeah, that sounds more like it. You should be Stan.
I'm only.
You're only Harry.
I'm only Harry.
Fell over.
Fell over. He's 13 now. He's probably got lower voice now.
Yeah.
Harry quickly turns around to check for the big dog-shaped creature, but it's gone. And he boards the bus under the name Neville Longbottom. And the bus shoots off screaming through the Muggle streets. So Harry asks why Muggles don't hear the night bus because it's so loud, and Stan hits him with this explanation on page 36.
Them don't listen properly, do they? Don't look properly either. Never notice nothing. They don't. He is the best.
So
He's like Hagrid.
So this is something that I wanted to point out that can help prove my point that I'll bring up in a later thing. But maybe
Oh boy.
it comes up in the books, but it's one of those things where like Muggles, they don't see nothing, but
Nothing.
but rather they do see stuff, but they just kind of write it off. Like they see something that doesn't make sense, or something that is like they would just attribute to their imagination, or something like that, you know. And then like deja vu, maybe something like that, where magic is real. We see it,
He's going crazy, man.
but we just like don't comprehend it, you know. You know, because like you ever have that where like something crazy happens and you're just like, that makes like
Magic.
yeah, and you're like,
No.
but you know magic's not real, so you're like, okay, it's just I saw something funny or something like that. You ever have that?
Maybe that explains UFOs.
Exactly. UFOs, like, I'm just saying, man.
It's just magic.
Things like that. Deja vu, how do you explain deja vu? It happened.
Magic.
It happened once in your life, and a wizard was involved, so they tried to erase your memory, but they didn't fully do it. So
Yeah.
then you relive it again. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
It's an
you're
interesting
probably
thought.
right.
It's an interesting thought.
You're probably right.
They even bring it up here, how Muggles don't see anything. I don't know.
Nothing.
Well, anyways, so on the bus, Harry grabs the Daily Prophet and he begins reading it, and he sees an article about Sirius Black.
The same person they talked about earlier. But
Yeah.
he thought it was just a muggle, normal person. Escaped convict.
You want to read us the last?
Black still at large? Sirius Black, possibly the most infamous prisoner ever to be held in Azkaban's fortress, is still eluding capture, the Ministry of Magic confirmed today. We're doing all we can to recapture Black, said the Minister of Magic, Cornelius Fudge, this morning, and we beg the magical community to remain calm. Fudge has been criticized by some members of the International Federation of Warlocks for informing the Muggle Prime Minister of the crisis.
Well, really, I had to, don't you know? Said an irritable Fudge. Black is mad. He's a danger to anyone who crosses him, magic or muggle. I have the Prime Minister's assurance that he will not breathe a word of Black's true identity to anyone. And let's face it, who'd believe him if he did? Well, muggles have been told that Black is carrying a gun, a kind of metal wand that muggles use to kill each other. The magical community lives in fear of a massacre like that of 12 years ago, when Black murdered 13 people with a single curse.
Thank you. So, interesting thing here is that Cornelius Fudge informs the Muggle Prime Minister about Sirius Black. So there is some sort of wizard Muggle relations thing there.
Jared, what do you think about that?
Jared, what do you think
I'm
about
sure you
this
picked
plan?
that up.
Not a clue.
Oh,
All right. Anyways,
okay. Moving on.
We then learn the story of Sirius Black from Stan. He says that he was a supporter of you-know-who, second in command, and killed 13 people with one spell, as we just heard. Story is that after Voldemort fell, all his followers were tracked down, and a group of people had Sirius cornered in a street full of Muggles. He blew up the street, killing a wizard and 12 Muggles, and then just laughed as they took him in. So, Jared, do you have any thoughts on this Sirius Black character, or what spell he may have used to blow up the street?
Blowy uppio.
Of course you would say.
Seems like trouble. Could be on the front cover of this book, if you know what I mean. Don't know, though. We'll find out. Yeah.
It's Voldemort. Okay. Well, Harry gets off. Anyways, Harry gets off the night bus at Diagon Alley, and he walks right into Cornelius Fudge, the Minister of Magic. So he takes Harry and explains everything has been taken care of, as far as blowing up his aunt and all that stuff, and Harry has nothing to worry about. So Harry asks what his punishment will be, and Fudge says that considering the current climate, it will be nothing. He finishes by telling Harry that he can stay at the Leaky Cauldron for the next 3 weeks, and he takes off. So Jared, at the time, what did you think about this?
That Harry is going to be needed for something.
By the
Ministry of Magic to help capture him or kill him or
Kill him.
Hey.
Wow, a 13-year-old?
Hey, he does have one murder under his
He's
belt.
got one murder under his
and
belt
an
already.
attempted second one. So, okay. So then the chapter ends with Harry sitting up in his room thinking it had been a very strange night, which I think we would mostly agree with. Chapter 4, The Leaky Cauldron. So this chapter starts off with Harry enjoying his new freedom in Diagon Alley, talking about him hitting all the different stores, exploring, and seeing the new state-of-the-art broomstick, the Firebolt. But he talks himself out of buying it because he has the Nimbus 2000 and has never lost a game of Quidditch with it. Never lost.
Where does Quidditch come into play in this whole story?
What do you mean? Quidditch is life, Jared.
Ball is life. I thought of all people you would understand this the most.
When is he going to use his broomstick to kill
He used
Sirius,
it in the first book.
to kill Sirius
Yeah,
Black?
he did use it in the first book. Remember, he had to chase
Oh,
the
yes,
key?
down there. Yes, I did. But how come? Why did he have that down there?
There was a different broom. It wasn't his.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyways.
Maybe it'll come up again. We'll find out.
Yeah, maybe it won't.
Maybe it won't.
Maybe it's just a sport to be enjoyed for fun by 13-year-old kids reading the book, Jared, to distract from the horrors of what's actually happening.
All right, I was just curious. It's a thought that came up as he's admiring this new, latest and greatest broomstick.
Oh, come on. I'm sure you do that with different basketball
I
teams.
surely do, but I
Yes.
don't know how that comes up in this.
Hey, think about that. What's the time frame of this book? Like the
Longing
90s?
for this broomstick.
So you think Harry was walking around in some Jordan ones?
No, they're still using quills and torches and stuff.
Dude, he's from the Muggle
Harry
world.
Potter, he didn't wear shoes.
He's...
Dude, he's wearing...
He just floated around on his broomstick and used magic to get anywhere. He don't need shoes.
Well, yeah. Okay. You think there'd be like more 90s references?
Oh, he's got Adidas shoes on. I forgot.
Oh, that's
He's
right.
got
I
Adidas.
forgot. He does.
Didn't they say PlayStation in one of the books?
They did in the first book.
Yeah.
But that's like.
That's a 90s reference.
But Harry, or maybe he's in England, so maybe Michael Jordan's not a big thing. But what was big in England in the 90s?
Soccer.
Rooney?
I have no idea.
Winston Churchill. Oh no.
We will fight them on the beaches. Anyway, Harry goes to get his books for the year, and as he's getting his fortune-telling book, he sees another book about death omens. And on it, he sees the great big black dog with the gleaming eyes. So he quickly leaves his books and gets his book and leaves the store. Jared, did you start putting the pieces together here?
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw that.
Okay.
That's where I made the connection to the other death omen.
Okay. Over the next week, Harry's waiting for Ron and Hermione to show up, and eventually they do find him, and they get caught up on all the stuff that happened over the summer. Hermione ends up showing them her huge, bulging rack of books, since she has more classes, and Ron shows them Scabbers, who is looking a little worse for his wear. So they all decide to head to the pet store for Hermione to get an owl and for Ron to get his rat checked out. So as Ron is getting Scabbers checked out, a huge cat jumps on him and tries to eat Scabbers. After catching Scabbers once again during this whole chase and leaving the shop, they find out that Hermione has actually bought that very cat instead of an owl. And what's that cat's name, Jared?
Oh, it's like Scooch. What was it? Go Crookshanks.
Scooch Shanks.
That's what it
Scooch.
Scooch Crook.
I'm gonna call it Scooch for the rest of the book. Scooch. So
I remember it had 2 O's in it. That's good enough.
Yeah. So they run into the Weasleys, and we find out that Percy is now head boy, which we had heard before. And we also have Fred and George teasing him a little bit about it. And George greets his mom by saying, "How very corking to meet you." What? What does that? Is that like a thing?
That's gotta be a British thing. Or
Is
a
it?
English thing or whatever.
I was like, what does that even mean?
Is that when he was mocking Percy
Yeah.
about like being super formal about seeing Harry?
Fred
Yeah.
and George
Oh, man.
gained serious points in this first fight.
Oh man, when I read that again, I was cracking
Humongous
up.
big head.
Did you not laugh at that?
I laughed. I definitely
man.
laughed.
I was laughing so hard at some of their
Oh,
clips. It was
man.
so funny. I still laugh at them. Humongous big head. I want to read that a second. Where is that? Oh man.
It's on page
Okay,
63.
because they're talking about the cars they're getting, and Fred says, Percy says, why are we getting cars? And George says, it's because of you, Perce. And there'll be little flags on the hoods with HB on them. And Fred finishes, for humongous big head.
So, yeah, at dinner that night, we find out that, as Taylor said, the Ministry is providing cars for them to all get to the Hogwarts Express, which seems a little bit strange, but Mr. Weasley just explains it off as a favor to him since he works there. Later that night, Harry overhears Mr. and Mrs. Weasley arguing, and he hears their conversation. That's on page 65. Jared, you want to be, or Taylor, you want to be Mr. Weasley, and Jared can be Mrs. Weasley for this?
Yeah,
exchange?
Jared. Jared's missing.
I gotta get a wing second.
Okay. You have to read the whole thing?
How does Mrs. Weasley sound?
She sounds like a Mrs. Weasley. Just give me a British accent.
Cheerio.
Cheerio. Cheerio.
Cheerio, mate.
Makes no... Cheerio. Cheerio, gotta get going.
Taylor getting into character.
Gotta get into British character. I can't. It's difficult. I always veer into like an Irish-Scottish blend, and it's terrible. I don't know why I do that.
Try Australian. It's kind of close.
Crikey.
No.
Makes no sense not to tell him.
There you go.
Harry's got a right to know. I tried to tell Fudge, but he insists on treating Harry like a child. See, yeah, here I go in the Irish thing. He's 13 years old and...
Arthur! You didn't give me a chance to get into my voice.
Just say cheerio.
I can't even do this. Arthur, the truth would terrify him.
Nice.
Do you really want to set Harry? I give up.
No, we gotta get through this.
Do you really want to send Harry back to school with that hanging over him? For heaven's sake, he's happy not knowing.
I don't want to make him miserable. I want to put him on his guard. You know what Harry and Ron are like, wandering off by themselves. They've even ended up in the Forbidden Forest. Which, they even ended up in the Forbidden Forest. Oh, wow. Like, it's so hard to just go walk in the Forbidden Forest. Anyway. But Harry mustn't do that this year. When I think what could have happened to him the night he ran away from home. If the night bus hadn't picked him up, I'm prepared to bet he would have been dead before the ministry found him.
But he's not dead. He's fine. So what's the point?
Molly! They say Sirius Black's mad. And maybe he is. But he was clever enough to escape from Azkaban. And that's supposed to be impossible. It's been a month, and no one's seen hide nor hair of him. I don't care what Fudge keeps telling the Daily Prophet. We're no nearer catching Black than inventing self-spelling wands. Only thing we know for sure is what Black's after. Why are you laughing so much? Is it because of my awesome Arthur Weasley voice?
You like turned halfway into Arnold Schwarzenegger for like 3 words.
Did I? It's hard. I don't know how people do this. Like,
No, me either.
I've said this many times. Jim Dale. Holy dudes, I don't know how he...
Continue.
But Harry... But Harry will be perfectly safe at Hogwarts.
We thought Azkaban was perfectly safe. If Black can break out of Azkaban, he can break into Hogwarts.
But no one's really sure that Black's after Harry.
There was a thud on wood. Harry was sure that Mr. Weasley had banged his fist on the table.
Did that register?
I don't know.
You just...
It just smacked my... Something definitely registered.
Okay.
I'm
That's
sweating.
probably enough. But tensions are running high in the kitchen.
Oh man.
Whew.
Yeah, it continues on to say that Black is deranged. He wants Harry dead, and he thinks that murdering Harry will bring you know who back to power. Oh, I need to recover from that. I'm crying. I'm crying.
I'm
right now.
sweating.
Yeah, me too. We'll have to do that more often. And as Taylor said in one of his readings, which maybe we'll cut, maybe we won't. And Black keeps muttering, he's at Hogwarts. He's at Hogwarts. He's at Hogwarts. Oh, wow. So Harry found out that Sirius Black is after him, and that's why he thinks Fudge was so lenient on him, and why the Ministry is providing cars for them, and all that good stuff. We also learn that the Azkaban guards are going to be stationed at the school, and it sounds like everyone is afraid or not fond of them. So, Jared, at this point, what did you think about the Azkaban guards, and why no one liked them?
That they were super powerful.
Okay. So, yeah. So Harry is thinking all this over, and he decides that he's not going to be murdered. And the chapter ends. That brings us to Chapter 5, The Dementor. This chapter begins, and the whole gang gets to King's Cross Station without a hitch. As they're boarding the train, Mr. Weasley pulls Harry aside to tell him all the Sirius Black stuff, and Harry tells him that he already knows because he overheard their conversation.
Time out.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, going back to the last chapter. So Hermione bought this Scooch.
Yeah.
Crookshanks or Crookshanks.
Yeah.
And we passed over the fact that it tried to get Scabbers,
Okay.
which...
I did mention that, by the way.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Well, then I forgot to interject. Is this significant to the story at all? Like, would it be better off if Scabbers is dead?
Why?
If Crookshank had just ate it?
I mean, he could have.
Well, then Ron would need to get a new pet.
But then...
Sounds
it
like
said
the other
something
rats
like,
could dance.
But
so.
it said something like, what's the secret powers that this rat has? And Ron says, nothing, or, I don't know, I've had it for years.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the rat saves the day. What are you talking about?
Okay. You know what?
Like, what kind of power? Because the other rats were...
We don't know.
The
It'll
other
come
rats...
back, you know.
The other rats were dancing in the cage. So maybe, like, dances away...
It distracts Sirius Black.
by dancing.
All right. Mark it down. Scabbers saves the day.
I'm not missing anything in this book.
Bold hot takes from Jared.
Hot takes from Jared. You heard it here first. You have any hot takes about Harry's talking mirror then?
That just seemed normal to me these days.
Okay.
You remember any other mirrors of importance in this book?
Yeah, the one from the first book.
What was the name of that one?
I don't know.
Mirror of Erised. Desire spelled backwards.
Oh, yeah. Nice. I would never remember that.
So anyways, back to Mr. Weasley talking to Harry. So, yeah, as Mr. Weasley is talking to him, the train begins to leave, and as Harry's boarding, Mr. Weasley wants Harry to promise him that he will not go looking for Black, no matter what he might hear. I don't think Harry actually ever promises him this, but Jared...
He doesn't.
Okay, Jared, what did you think about this?
That what?
That Mr. Weasley doesn't want him to go looking for Black.
Promise me, Harry.
Oh, that Harry's still going to do something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, well, Harry says, why would he want to go look for someone that wants to kill him?
Well, he always knew that you know who was after him, right? That never stopped him.
That is true. Okay. Well, the squad boards the train, and they find a car to sit in, and there's one person in that car, and that person is who, Jared?
Professor Lisbon?
Lisbon?
I gotta find his name.
It's bottom of 74.
Lupin. Professor Lupin.
Yeah, Professor Lupin. And
Did he get to his first name yet?
Wasn't it just like Professor R. Lupin or something?
It says R.J. Lupin on his
thing.
I think at the end of the chapter when Dumbledore introduces them. No, he doesn't say his name.
Okay, I guess we don't know.
We'll get there then. Jared, what do you think his name is? Starts with an R.
I have no idea.
Okay. So Harry tells them on the train all about the story of Sirius Black, and after he's done, his cheap pocket sneakoscope goes off, which, as Jared said, goes off when someone or something's untrustworthy or something like that. So Harry throws it back in the trunk, and they begin to talk about Hogsmeade and all its candy and its drink stores and its history and the haunted house, the most haunted house in Britain.
Even though it's cheap, why don't they do anything? It's not. They just throw it back in the trunk and think nothing of it.
The sneakoscope?
Yes.
Well, Ron says it's broken because it was cheap.
I don't trust anything Ron says.
And
maybe Ron's the sneaky guy.
Yeah.
Well, it would have been going the whole time then, huh?
Maybe Lupin's the sneaky guy.
Then it would have been going the whole time, right?
It basically is, I think, right?
Huh?
I don't remember.
Anyway, sorry.
So, yeah, they talk about the most haunted house in Britain, the Shrieking Shack. And Harry then informs them that he cannot go because he didn't get his paper signed. So Ron immediately brings up Fred and George using all the secret passages that they found to help get him in. But Hermione quickly brushes them off and says that's not a good idea because Sirius Black is after Harry.
And he's a murderer.
So's Harry, if you think about it.
They're both murderers, but he's murdered more people.
So a while goes by on the train, and it's getting dark, and they're getting close to Hogwarts, and the train starts unexpectedly slowing down, and it jolts to a stop. Just then, all the lights on the train go out, and they're plunged into pitch blackness. So Ron goes to take a peek out the window, and he sees movement outside, and lets everyone else know that something or someone is boarding the train. So then we have a little bit of like fumbling and stumbling around as Neville and Ginny come into their compartment, and Professor Lupin wakes up, and he does a sweet thing where he lights like a small flame and holds it in his hand. And just as he's about to get up and speak with the driver, the compartment door slowly slides open. I gotta get the right page here for this. Let's see. And standing in the doorway, illuminated by the shivering flames in Lupin's hand, was a cloaked figure that towered to the ceiling. Its face was completely hidden beneath its hood. Harry's eyes darted downward, and he saw what made his stomach contract. There was a hand protruding from the cloak, and it was glistening, grayish, slimy-looking, and scabbed. It looked like something dead had decayed in water.
So I guess Merlin Irwin isn't on this train, huh?
He's recovering.
I thought for sure. I was all prepared for this. I was. Maybe it's still coming. Still gonna be prepared.
Yeah, where is he? Albania again?
No,
He's in Azkaban.
Oh, he's in Azkaban.
Apparently.
Where did
Maybe
we
he's
see
the
him
Dark
last? At
Shadow.
the Phoenix?
He
Or
last
the basilisk?
he last saw the basilisk reflection in the water on the floor.
Oh,
and
he's
he got
petrified in the bottom of the Chamber of Secrets.
No, he got unpetrified when everyone else did.
Or because of mandrakes.
Yeah, he's just really old, so it takes him a long time to recover.
Oh. He didn't make it today.
And he didn't have he has never met a pet dementor before, so it's hard to say that that's going to be a magical creature.
Well, he's never been to Azkaban because he's such an outstanding guy.
He
So
really is.
he's a really nice guy.
So yeah, we just had the description of the dementors. So Harry begins to feel cold rush over him, and he heard a pleading scream as he sunk more and more into white fog. Insert sound clip here. Jared, give us a pleading scream. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. So he wakes up to the. So then Harry wakes up to the train moving again. All the lights are on, and everyone is staring at him. He asks what's going on and what happened. And Lupin explains that it was a dementor. And Ron tells him that it came into the compartment, looked at Harry, and Harry went rigid, fell off his seat, and started twitching. And then they all felt like they would never be cheerful again. Hermione then told them that Lupin told the Dementor none of them were hiding Sirius Black, but it still wouldn't leave, so he cast a spell and a silvery thing shot out of his wand, and the Dementor went away. Jared, what spell would produce such a thing?
A silver bullet? A silver wand?
A silvery
Silver string?
thing.
What kind of spell are you looking for here?
A spell
The
that shoots a silvery thing out of a wand and defends
out of his wand.
a Dementor away. Or scares a Dementor away.
Well, it's got to be something with silver, yo. Silverio Scaredio.
There you go.
Okay. Jared, I think you're
Crikey!
I think your spellcasting's getting worse and worse.
Didn't have any clue what this one would be.
So, oh yeah, and Lupin gives Harry some chocolate to feel better, and then he heads off to talk to the train director. So, Jared, what are your thoughts about this Dementor? What's going on with it?
I had many different thoughts that came through my mind. The first one that came was that you know who, or Sirius Black, or the Shadow, or whatever the thing is like hiding with Harry, or by Harry, or in Harry's cloak, or that's why the Dementor came. And the scream was, you know who. Okay. And that or Sirius Black, because he thought he'd be the safest with Harry. And then, I don't know, the fact that it actually, like, affected Harry so much and it didn't affect the other people, I was confused by. Although he saw the hand, maybe the hand touched him and that's what affected him.
Okay.
I don't know. It just... Why the Dementor came straight for Harry Potter, I don't know. I don't know much about these guys. How they work? Do they sense things? Do they just... They check the bus? How do you check the bus and you go into one compartment? I don't know.
So what do you think the Dementor did, or that made Harry go rigid, fall off his seat, and then they all felt like they'd never be cheerful again? Like, what did the Dementor do to them?
He must have cast a spell or did something that knocked that. Maybe searched them, maybe tried them, or I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
Just throwing things out there.
Yeah, seeing what sticks. That's good.
Yeah, you know.
So then they get to Hogwarts, and on the carriage ride in, Harry sees a couple more Dementors guarding the gates. And once inside, Malfoy starts mocking him for fainting. So McGonagall then calls for Harry and Hermione, who follow her to her office, where she tries to tell Harry to go to the hospital wing, but he absolutely refuses. And then she has a private word with Hermione about something that we don't know. And then they get back to the feast just in time for Dumbledore's speech, where he delivers a warning about the Dementors. Page 92, Taylor.
Okay. Welcome, said Dumbledore. Welcome to another year at Hogwarts. I have a few things to say to you all, and as one of them is very serious, I think it is best to get it out of the way before you become befuddled by our excellent feast. I actually need to clear my throat. He clears his throat and continued. As you will all be aware, after the search of the Hogwarts Express, our school is presently playing host to some of the Dementors of Azkaban, who are here on Ministry of Magic business. They are stationed at every entrance to the grounds, and while they are with us, I must make it plain that nobody is to leave the school without permission. Dementors are not to be fooled by tricks or disguises, or even invisibility cloaks. It is not the nature of a Dementor to understand pleading or excuses. I therefore warn each and every one of you to give them no reason to harm you. I look to the prefects and our new head boy and girl to make sure that no student runs afoul of the Dementors.
Wait, doesn't Harry the only one who has an invisibility cloak?
That we know of.
And it was given to him by his dad or something? Or we don't know who it was given to.
It was given to him by, I think...
We don't know.
Dumbledore gave it to him.
He said it was his dad's.
It was his dad's, but then Dumbledore had it and gave it to Harry for like his first Christmas.
Remember the badge now read Big Head Boy.
Another part I cracked up at.
Yeah, so then Dumbledore then introduces Lupin as the new Defense Against the Dark Arts professor, and Hagrid as the Care of Magical Creatures professor. So then the trio, after all the announcements and stuff, the trio run down to congratulate Hagrid, and the chapter ends with Harry getting into his 4-poster bed and feeling at home at last. And that's the end of these 5 chapters. So
Introduction complete.
What?
And then the good stuff happens.
Yeah, Jared, what are your thoughts on these chapters? You got any sweet thoughts? I know upstairs before we started talking, you said you had a lot of things you wanted to bring up.
I guess it's better than the other chapters, but my initial thing was, this is boring again.
Yeah, this is the first few.
The first few were learn about how fat the dude Dudleys are again.
right,
And
yeah.
a few of those stories. The intro seems to have a little bit more of what might happen in the story, as far as Sirius Black. So, like, he seems to be a major contributor now in the Dementors.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more to work with in that sense.
Okay.
So yeah, a good few chapters.
You have any thoughts about Professor Lupin yet? Any opinions on him?
He seems like a good guy. My also thought would be that Dumbledore. How did he get replaced? My first kind of thought as I was reading was like, Dumbledore probably picked a guy that would have some influence or some importance that could help them out.
Help them out with Sirius Black, or help them with the Dementors? Or just help them, period?
I was thinking Sirius Black.
Okay.
Or Harry in that. I don't know.
So, in the first book, the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher was the bad guy. In the second book, the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher was
a doofus.
A doofus, and kind of not the bad guy, but so the third book, you're saying that he's a good guy, just off the bat.
Yeah, that's my initial reaction.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts about Hagrid being a professor now? Not yet.
I think that, my thought is that Dumbledore's stacking his teachers.
Oh, top draft picks and everything?
He's just loading them up so that they can fight or keep Harry or help Harry.
Why does it always have to be about fighting? Why can't it just be about instructing the children?
And learning.
Well, because then we wouldn't have a story.
Yeah, learning's pretty boring.
They went on the Hogwarts train, they had Christmas, and they came back.
Oh, here's a question. When do you think the climax of this book will be? Will it be...
This is supposed to be a trick question?
Will it be, like, after spring break, like before spring break? Will it be, like,
I bet
Christmas
you'll win the House Cup.
Do you think it'll be during exam
He'll get
time
1,001 points to cover the 1,000 that he needed.
When do you think we'll find this Sirius Black guy? Like, is it going to be soon, like in the beginning of the school year?
Here, let's ask it this way first. So the first book and the second book, the bad guy was Voldemort, and you fought Voldemort right like the day before exams.
Yeah, the day before exams.
So, with that in mind,
this better not be the same, or else quick reading.
Okay.
Maybe he'll do both. Maybe he'll get 500 points for Gryffindor when he kills Sirius Black. He'll lose 500 because he got killed by a Dementor, and then he'll gain 1,000 when he kills Lord Voldemort to win.
He wins the House Cup again.
And he wins again. And he rides his new broomstick through town.
Okay.
I have no idea. Oh, man.
Okay, well, yeah, I think that's...
My guess is going to happen near the end of the school year again. It's just a hunch. It's just a hunch.
Do I even want to read the book anymore, or should I just skip to the end?
Definitely don't skip to the end. It wouldn't make any sense.
All right.
Well, all right. Anything you guys wanted to add?
How are those wings, Colin?
They were cold because I had the weight of this podcast on my shoulders while you just had to eat. Well, thanks everybody for listening once again. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to rate it and review us and leave comments about the different questions that we asked if you remember. May not seem like much, but it does help us out. Check us out on Facebook and on Twitter at KeepersPod. And, of course, there's always Patreon if you want to take the next step. But that's all for now. So until next time, we solemnly swear we'll be up to no good.
Never gets old. I'll still be doing good.